bamboo thing decoration got broke. He broke a popcorn popper on me, and that was it. I mean, we were no longer going to live together.
Most twins grow up to become the best of friends or the bitterest of rivals. The Brands somehow seem to be becoming both.
Maybe destiny has it that we live close together. Maybe we'll live right next door and we can throw eggs at each other or something.
And here Mom got to watch instead of having to referee. Terry Brands, the national champ at 43-1 in a rematch of the 1990 championship. Again faced Jason Kelber, the senior from Nebraska. As the second period began, Kelber led 4-2. Here's how we called it.
Both athletes have dominated on their feet. And here, Kelber has a cradle on Brands. This could lead to some back points. He needs to turn him over, get that back to the 45-degree angle. And there he has it. Mike, he's going to score here.
The referee signaling 5 seconds or more. That's a 3-point near fall for Jason Kelber of Nebraska wearing red.
And that'll up his lead to 7-2. And this was expected to be a takedown match, but with those back points, that's going to throw a wrench into that strategy.
Right, Jeff. In the first period takedown game, Kelber took Brands down for 2 points, led him up. Brands got one back. But now with this huge advantage for Kelber, Brands is going to have to put some big points on the board. The takedowns aren't going to do it.
He'll either have to turn him on the mat or put him on his back directly from his feet to help make up this deficit.
Now, if you're Jason Kelber with a 4-point lead, what's your strategy?
Well, if I were him, I would not want to get too aggressive. I don't want to shut down and play strictly defense, but certainly I don't want to be too aggressive and leave some openings for Brands to exploit.
Kelber wearing red, an academic all Big 8, 3.15 grade average in biological sciences. And I think he's giving Terry Brands a much better match than we anticipated.
He certainly is. He's very good on his feet, but Brands has that ability to wear you down, and that's going to be the big question of Kelber now. Will he have the stamina to stay with it? He can't have a big lapse, and Brands getting a nice takedown there. That's going to cut into the lead. It is now 7-5.
And there's a point for Kelber as he's up with the escape. 8-5, Jason Kelber.
And Brands is in again. If he can finish this takedown and get out of this period, he'll only trail by 1. Oh, and a nice job by Kelber kicking out.
No points there. And in the third period, Kelber continued to dominate Terry Brands and avenge his championship loss of a year ago. Nebraska senior Jason Kelber finally won his national championship. While Nebraska and the Kelbers celebrated, Brands was unable to compose himself. And his unsportsmanlike refusal to shake the winner's hand cost Iowa a 1-point team penalty. Could twin brother Tom retain his national title? Stay with us. Championships. In the 134-pound class, Tom Brands defended his national championship and rode a 50-match winning streak into the finale against number 3 seed, the Big 8 champion, Alan Freed of Oklahoma State. Freed led 2-1 going into the second period. Freed wearing orange. Here's how we called it.
Freed lets Brands go. That knocks the score 2-2.
Very close, even match, as everyone predicted. The number 1 and 2 seeds. Brands, the defending national champion, number 1 seed. 44-0 with 13 pins. And Alan Freed, the Big 8 champion, came into this tournament seeded number 2.
Brands will want to play this takedown game. The same with Freed. They both have that same style of wrestling, and Brands lost an excellent opportunity to score there, not being able to hold on to Alan Freed's legs as they went out of bounds. And it's important to note, even though your opponent may be out of bounds, if your supporting points are inbounds, they'll give you the takedown.
And we're still knotted at 2. Freed, a redshirt freshman from Oklahoma State. What a great career he appears to have ahead of him.
Well, Freed has won the Junior Nationals 4 times. He was highly recruited coming into college. I've even watched him defeat a Soviet wrestler, Mike, last year.
Freed went to high school at University Heights, Ohio, wrestled under Howard Ferguson there, and was recruited to Oklahoma State. These two wrestlers have a history.
Freed defeated Brands last year, but this year, Brands owns them. 2 decisions, 6-4 and 10-5 in their only 2 meetings.
In fact, Brands has not lost since the Big Ten championship final 1 year ago. Dave Zuniga of Minnesota beat him, but Brands avenged that loss with a quarterfinal victory over Zuniga in this tournament.
And Brands took advantage of a poor Alan Freed shot and followed it up with one of his own. And there, a nice finish to get the takedown. He now leads it 4-2.
Now, will he let Freed up?
Not with this much time left in the period. He'll try to ride Freed out, stay in that advantaged position, and add some riding time. Here's the finish to that takedown. Brands will step over Freed's leg, and in doing so, flatten Freed out, giving him the takedown.
Tom Brands held on to successfully defend his national championship, decisioning Alan Freed 5-3. Brands' title sustained Iowa's hopes of a record championship score and continued Coach Dan Gable's winning tradition in the coach's corner and on the mat.
The name Dan Gable carries with it a reputation that goes far beyond the arena of wrestling. After an incredible 182-1 record through high school and college, Gable won Olympic gold without a single point scored against him, a feat that may never be equaled. Coach Gable is also in a world all his own when it comes to his intense personal involvement with his sport and his athletes.
People mean a whole lot to me. And if it was the rewards, if it was the trophies, then I wouldn't have been able to continue to make accomplishments as a coach. It's the people that get to me. Consequently, I get fired up and get motivated because I want them to do well.
Coach Gable cares about his wrestlers, but make no mistake, he also cares about winning. After 9 straight national titles as a coach, Gable has had 3 years to live with something unfamiliar: defeat.
You win 9 straight titles and you lose one, and you lose another, and you lose another. You know, it's like you try to learn from that. But if I make it a habit of continuing to lose, then I'm going to be upset with myself.
Gable's habit in this championship, though, has been winning. And after Brands' victory, here's how the standings were. Iowa 7 points away from the record for a championship meet. In the 142-pound class, #1 seed Scott Collins, the West Virginia senior, faced off against Iowa sophomore Troy Steiner. At this point in the second period, Collins has a 4-3 lead, and with this takedown, goes to 6-3. Cheering on is Jim Akerley, West Virginia's all-time winner with 119 victories. If Collins wins, he ties that mark.
But the Hawkeye would not quit. He quickly escaped and came right back to take Collins down and knock the score 6 apiece.
This was the closest match of the finals thus far. And they started the third period, knotted up 6 apiece.
And it would all come down to a final takedown. An aggressive Steiner wound up getting countered, and Scott Collins earned the 2 points for the winning edge.
As the clock wound down, Scott Collins, in his 3rd NCAA appearance and his final collegiate match, won the 142-pound championship, becoming West Virginia's first ever NCAA wrestling champion.
When your office
72 at North Dakota State, where he occupies a place of honor in the Bison Hall of Fame. Three-time All-American and two-time NCAA wrestling champion. Coached his son Matt in high school, and today watched Matt square off in the 150-pound final, wrestling for Wisconsin and carrying a 41-0 record into the championship round against Iowa State junior Steve Hamilton, two-time All-American in the 158-pound class, moving down to the 150.
Let's go right now.
After a scoreless first period, Hamilton gained an escape for a 1-0 lead. Hamilton, with the green anklets, gained this takedown to build his lead to 3-0. Demaray escaped but trailed 3-1 as the third period began.
Hamilton's strategy here will be to try to keep Demaray down, but Demaray gets a quick escape, makes it a one-point match now, and he could win with a takedown.
Hamilton with a green anklet has pretty much controlled this match thus far.
He's been the aggressor on the feet, getting many times in on Demaray's leg. He was only able to finish one, and here he is again. A very nice single. He gets it to his feet. Let's watch the finish. Oh, and Demaray pulls a kick out of his own to get out of that.
No points?
No points there. Wasted opportunity by Hamilton.
Now, Demaray has battled Iowa State twice this year, but it was Torrey Jackson wrestling at 150 pounds and not Hamilton.
Well, Hamilton has done well dropping that weight class. He's still strong, and he doesn't show any signs of fatiguing, which means he's able to sustain good, intense battle. Oh, Demaray has his hands locked. He might try an upper body throw, but he breaks the lock, and they go out of bounds. They'll return to the center.
Matt Demaray, at age 13, was thrust into the state high school tournament against wrestlers 5 years his senior and finished second.
Well, the first thing you learn in wrestling is survival, and if you can survive at that early age, it's certainly understandable why you see him here in the national final. But he trails here, and he needs some points in order to win this match, and oh, he's got an inside trip, and he'll score with it. That'll be a 2-point takedown, and Demaray now enjoys a 4-3 lead.
Slim margin for Matt Demaray.
Oh, that was a great technique, Mike. It takes a real good setup to be able to execute an inside trip, and he did it very nicely at the edge of the mat.
Hamilton took Demaray down in the second period, only the 5th time he's been down all year.
It shows Demaray's dominance on his feet, and what he'll try to do now is ride Steve Hamilton out, and a forward roll by Hamilton in an attempt to escape, but Demaray is able to hang on to the leg, and he can kill some significant time here just by hanging on. And they're out of bounds there. They'll return to the center. But time's running out on Steve Hamilton. Once again, that forward roll technique, but it plays right into Demaray's hands. He's able to hang on to that leg, giving Hamilton no chance to get away. And you even hear the crowd booing it a little bit, but this is an Iowa crowd.
And a stalling warning on Demaray, but it'll come too late to do Steve Hamilton much good.
2 seconds.
2 on the clock.
Demaray will just hang on here, and he'll win it.
Matt Demaray joins his dad as an NCAA wrestling champion and breaks Coach Andy Ryan's undefeated season school record, 42-0.
Right here. Watch over there, bud.
Here's the winning takedown. Demaray on your right has an underhook on Hamilton. He'll lift that underhook to force all the weight to Hamilton's far foot. Demaray then will step forward with his right foot, hooking Hamilton's leg, dropping him down to the mat, and getting that takedown.
Matt Demaray's inside trip is one of a wide variety of wrestling moves, some of which have interesting names. So we thought we'd play a bit of Wrestling Jeopardy with you at home and our knowledgeable crowd here in Iowa. Jeff, I'll try wrestling for 200.
The Whizzer.
The guy who predicts the games? I don't know.
The Whizzer is a basic counter to a single leg attack. The key is to overhook your opponent's arm, lift it up and forward, at the same time hip in, and spin around the face.
The Granby Roll.
I don't know. Maybe you could buy one in a bakery or something.
The Granby roll is a technique used to get an escape or reversal from the bottom position. The key is to elevate your hips very high, throw your backside and legs directly over the top of your shoulders, turn and face your opponent.
The spiral ride.
It sounds like a roller coaster to me.
Not quite. The spiral ride is a breakdown technique. The key is to attack under the armpit and on the inner thigh, and you take your body and drive in a circular or spiral motion, forcing your opponent to the mat.
The Turk.
It was probably a wrestling move popularized by someone in the northeastern Mediterranean.
Sorry, the Turk is a finish to a leg shot. The key is to hook your opponent's leg as you return him to the mat, thus forcing him to his back.
Oh, none of our guests will advance to Final Jeopardy, so they won't have to face defending champion Pat Smith, who comes up next.
This is CBS.
150-pound final, Iowa still needed 7 points to set an NCAA record. And they needed a win from this man, junior Big Ten champion Tom Ryan in the 158-pound class. Ryan faced Pat Smith, the #1 seed and defending champ from Oklahoma State. Alongside on his right, brother John, recently honored with the James Sullivan Award as the top amateur athlete of the year. It's a crowded trophy case in the Smith household. John has 2 NCAA and 3 world championships to go along with a 1988 Olympic gold medal. Oldest brother Leroy coaches on the U.S. national team, while John is an assistant at Oklahoma State, where you can keep a close eye on Pat.
It takes a lot of support. You know, growing up, for me, you know, winning and losing, you need the support there, especially losing, you know, because it's a one-on-one competition. And when you lose, you lost.
When I'm down, I could always go to him with my wrestling or with my school or with just my everyday living. So it's a real good environment for me.
Pat could become the first wrestler ever to win 4 NCAA championships. Not even John accomplished that.
Right now, he's got the older brother syndrome on me, but I'm catching up on him.
So Pat Smith squared off in quest of his 2nd consecutive NCAA championship against Iowa junior Tom Ryan, the #2 seed. This became perhaps the battle royale of the entire championship. Ryan scored first with a takedown. Smith escaped to make it 2-1 in the first period.
And Smith fired back with his own takedown shot, knocking Ryan down, gaining his own takedown to take the lead 3-2. But Ryan, to his credit, countered immediately, spinning to the neutral position and getting an escape.
The first period ended tied at 3. And to start the second, a quick escape by Smith gave him a 1-point lead as we pick up the live call.
Smith attempting a shot there, countered well by Ryan. And you can hear this crowd encouraging Ryan as he tries to spin behind Smith. He's got him close to the edge, and that'll count.
The crowd was calling for the 2 points. Jeff, you won your Olympic gold medal in Los Angeles in front of a home crowd. What is this Iowa crowd doing for Tom Ryan right now?
Well, it's certainly giving him all the support he's going to need, but I think more important is he's at home. He sleeps in his own bed. He's familiar with the surroundings. There's no transportation problems. All of this adds up to less confusion, less frustration, and a much better performance.
Ryan wearing black. Smith in Oklahoma State orange. There's a 4th Smith brother, Mark, wrestling in high school.
Seems incredible that a family can do that well. 3 NCAA champions, the only family to ever do that, and still have one in the holding tank.
Coach Dan Gable of Iowa about ready to eat the mat there.
Well, he's into this match, going up against a national champion, a team scoring record on the line.
Joe C. from Oklahoma State on the right, John Smith on the left.
Well, you can bet that Joe C's into it every bit as much as Gable.
The period ends tied at 5.
It really seems that this match will come down to a takedown game. Who's going to get it?
Escape. for Ryan, and he takes the lead 6-5.
And I've been very impressed with Ryan on his feet. He's been able to stop that Smith low single attack, and what he's done very, very well is off that attack he has spun behind very, very well. If he can continue this kind of a conservative offense in which he's not taking a lot of risk, this could frustrate Smith and really test him to see what kind of a champion he is.
Ryan is 41-1. Smith undefeated, 27-0 this season.
And here you see him again. He's got Smith's head down and he's looking to try and spin around behind. Looks like Gable wants to get out there and help Ryan. But Ryan doing a great job all by himself. Leading by 1 point, seemingly frustrating Smith in most of his offense.
Gable looks like he's ready for the coronary unit. Iowa needs this win to break the NCAA record.
Oh, and Smith with a beautiful shot right there. He's got his ankle, and Ryan counters very, very nicely. That was a great series of action.
What is Joe C. telling Pat Smith?
Stay low, stay focused, and once again, you go back to your basics, your bread and butter, and that is that Smith low single. You always want to have an option, but when it gets down to crunch time, you want to go back to what works best for you, and Smith is in on that low single. He's got Ryan down. That should be a takedown right there. That should put him up 7-6. And Ryan now must get away or he will lose this match. Smith's looking actually at back points here, but Ryan's keeping away from that criteria. He stays away from his back nicely, no points. At this point, Smith's just going to hang on. They'll break that. That's potentially dangerous. Referee signals potentially dangerous.
That took a lot of strength for Ryan to get up.
Certainly did, and it was all for naught. He'll return to the down position, and you saw John Smith with it motioning with his arms to his brother Pat. That's a spiral ride. Trying to encourage Pat to keep him down on the mat, ride him out for these few seconds, and he'll win it. And there's only 2 left, Mike. It's going to be very difficult for Ryan to get away.
Out of bounds with 2 seconds left to wrestle. And it's over. Pat Smith continues his ride toward wrestling history. Father Leroy looking on, Brother John, Coach Joe C.
The bread and butter Smith low single. He tried at Ryan's left leg once, twice, 3 times, but it did not work. So he changed off, attacked Ryan's other leg, and found some success. Once he got a hold of that ankle, he drove through Ryan, knocking him down, getting behind, and getting those winning 2 points.
So Pat Smith has his 2nd NCAA championship in just 2 years of trying, while Dan Gable's Hawkeyes have the team title, but not the record. And there are 3 champions yet to be crowned. Here at Carver Hawkeye Arena on the campus of the University of Iowa, let's recap the champions crowned thus far. Penn State's Jeff Prescott at 118 and Nebraska's Jason Kelber avenged last year's final round loss. Iowa's Tom Brands won his 2nd straight title, while Scott Collins brought West Virginia their 1st championship. Wisconsin's Matt Demaray capped an undefeated season, while Oklahoma State's Pat Smith has 2 titles in 2 years. Iowa's Mark Reland has the only pin of the final round, while moments ago, Marty Morgan defeated Matt Johnson in the 177-pound class. And Morgan, wearing maroon, simply dominated this match.
Morgan took Johnson down 6 times. This was very typical right here. A single leg trip, putting Johnson right down to his back.
Morgan's 17-7 win caps an undefeated senior season and brings Minnesota a national championship. Now in the 190-pound class from Oklahoma State, the Big 8 champion, junior Randy Couture. Facing off against Paul Keysaw from Pennsylvania, wrestling for Cal State Bakersfield and wearing blue.
The only points scored in the first period were by Keysaw. He had a single leg on Couture, worked to a trip to finish the move, and scored the only points for the takedown, 2-0.
And that's the only takedown of this match so far. They have traded 1 point apiece for escapes.
Couture was our national Greco-Roman champion last year. He's very good at upper body tactics, but he's not as good at shooting on the legs of his opponent. He trails right now 3-1, and Keysaw has riding time.
That means he's had the advantage for more than a minute, and that will give him an extra point in the match.
Couture needs a quick takedown here, and even with that takedown now, he can't possibly win.
So Paul Keysaw, the senior from Athens, Pennsylvania, wins a national championship for Cal State Bakersfield. 4-1 the final score. When we come back, Kurt Angle puts his heavyweight championship on the line against the only man to beat him all this season, John Llewellyn of Illinois. John Llewellyn, wearing orange from Illinois, up against Kurt Angle, the defending champion from Clarion College in Pennsylvania. Llewellyn, a senior, his last shot at a title. He is a 3-time Big Ten champion.
And Llewellyn had the only takedown in the first period. He took advantage of a poor Angle shot and spun around and just briefly controlled Angle long enough to get the 2 points for the takedown. Angle got that escape. The score at the end of the first period, 2-1.
Since then, each wrestler has a 1-point escape, and Llewellyn given a point by the officials for Angle stalling, so it's 4-2.
Angle's very good on his feet, Mike, and he seems to be setting himself trying to draw Llewellyn after him, and I'm wondering if that's because he can't take a real good step to attack Llewellyn's leg because of that bad knee. Lou Bannock, an '84 Olympic champion, is an assistant coach and works closely with Angle.
Llewellyn snapped Angle's 53-match unbeaten streak in the All-Star Classic in Philadelphia earlier this year.
Oh, Llewellyn has him again. A very nice takedown. Once again, it was Angle shooting that set that up for Llewellyn.
Llewellyn takes a 6-2 lead. Let's have another look.
Angle will attempt to drop under Llewellyn. Llewellyn counters nicely. Angle unable to gain his balance. Llewellyn launches his own leg attack, knocks him down at the edge of the mat, and gains his 2 points.
6-2 lead. Angle trying to escape, but Llewellyn slams him to the mat.
Well, it wasn't a slam. That would be a penalty, but certainly he did that with some authority. Angle received 1 point for that escape, making the score now 6-3.
Angle trying to become Clarion's first 2-time champion since Wade Shallus in 1972 and 3. But John Llewellyn has the measure of it.
I really feel Angle's knee is bothering him. He doesn't seem to be taking quite as good a step to attack Llewellyn's leg. There he shoots again. Llewellyn counters, and Angle starts to spin around behind, and he turns him loose. And I think Angle actually thought he had a takedown there. You can see him. He's frustrated. But it doesn't matter. The score is still 6-3, and that might have been a wasted opportunity for Kurt Angle.
Half a minute to wrestle. Llewellyn trying to improve his record to 34-1, and more importantly, win a championship in his final NCAA appearance. He's the only Illinois wrestler in the tournament.
Angle needs takedowns. He's going to have to do it by moving forward. Llewellyn should stay conservative here, not take any chances. And he's doing just that. No, almost takes Angle down again at the edge of the mat. And there you see Angle flexing that knee a little bit. But the story here, Mike, is John Llewellyn. A very patient attack. A very smart attack.
And with time running out, John Llewellyn becomes the heavyweight national champion, defeating Kurt Angle for the second time this season, 6-3. Llewellyn started wrestling as a 98-pound high school freshman. Winds up heavyweight college champ. Dan Gable's Iowa Hawkeyes have won the team title with a near record 157 points. Jeff Blatnick is with the winning coach.
Congratulations, Coach, on the national championship. Was it a bittersweet victory after the finals performance?
Well, anytime you can capture something that slipped away from you for a few years, it's great. You know, no matter what kind of performance we had, it's a team championship. It's a great effort. We had 8 guys in the top 3, but you know, sure, coming in these finals, we were favored in only 2 of the 6. We ended up getting only 2 of the 6, losing 2 of them by 1 point and an upset in 1.
So, you know, it's like, yeah, it's high and lows, but none of them are real downers because it took a lot just to get to that position. And, you know, I'm not going to take anything away from those guys. But, yeah, I was a little surprised. I thought we'd win a few more in the finals.
The Iowa wrestlers line up for the team trophy presentation when we come back. Runners up and 3 third-place wrestlers score a near-record 157 points to win the national title. Defending champions Oklahoma State with 108.75 are second, and Penn State a credible third. Jeff, was this a typical Dan Gable 9-in-a-row type team?
I certainly think it was. They came very close to setting a team record. They peaked at the right time. Anytime you have a hot team coming into a tournament, they're going to be tough when it's at home, and especially with this kind of partisan crowd, they walked away with the national championship.
And Pat Smith, 2 championships in 2 years, 2 years of eligibility left. With what we saw tonight, do you think he can make 4 for 4?
Well, I certainly think that Pat Smith showed us something tonight. He was trailing late in the match. He came back, got the points he needed to win the championship. I feel Pat Smith will be the first 4-time NCAA champion in wrestling.
Our congratulations to Smith and the other 9 individual titleists. That'll do it from Iowa City. For Jeff Blatnick, I'm Mike Joy, congratulating the University of Iowa Hawkeyes on their 1991 NCAA Division I Wrestling Championship.
The 1991 NCAA Men's Wrestling Championships have been sponsored by Honda, maker of fine quality automobiles. Test drive a Honda at your local dealer today. Carrier, ever since we invented air conditioning, we've been making it better inside. We're the inside guys. And by new Haviland Formula 3 motor oil, add more life to your car.